You are listening to an exclusive interview on Bass Musician Magazine. The interview starts now.
Hey everybody, this is Raul with Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure chatting with the bassist for Chthonic, Doris Yeh, coming all the way from Taiwan.
Yes.
Via Skype.
Yes.
So we're very excited to talk to you today, Doris. We always like to start from the beginning. How did you get started in music and on bass?
It's all started when I was, I think, in high school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my dad is a bass player. He works at TV station before. And when I was a little kid, I can always see my dad playing bass at home, and the floor in my house. Sometimes I can find some picks, and I found it interesting as a small toys. Mm-hmm. So I am kind of very familiar with this instrument. So when I get to high school, and at my school, there's no club. They only have a guitar club after school activity. So me and my friend try to form our own rock club.
Nice.
So at that time, all of us are thinking that we should have a band first to attract more and more students to come to join our rock club. Mm-hmm. So we should have a band first. And everyone said, okay, then I want to be a guitar player. I want to be a drum player. And they said, oh, Doris, your dad is a bass player. How about you just pick up a bass? And I think that, oh, yeah, I think it's easier for me because I don't need to spend actual money to buy an instrument. Mm-hmm. So that's easy for me. I think, okay, yeah, I can be a bass player. I know bass, this instrument, but I never ever play that before. Mm-hmm. So I came back home and asked my dad, "Do you have any spare bass at home that you don't use?" And my dad said, "Yeah, it's just right over there. You can just pick up some."
Yeah.
And I pick up one. That's the start. I played bass. I don't even think about if I really love bass or not at that time. Mm-hmm. It's the easiest way for me. But after I play bass with my schoolmates at school, mm-hmm. It's very interesting to play bass. So the procedure of me to play bass is kind of different. It's opposite. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With you playing with a rock band, now rock and roll music has managed to go all around the world, but that's not a traditional music for Taiwan, is it?
No, it's not traditional music in Taiwan, of course. Yeah, of course, no. But it's getting more and more popular. I think when my dad passed the test, the exam, mm-hmm. to the TV station is about like 40 years ago. At that time, I think rock music is starting to be popular. At that time, the rock music is getting more and more influences in Taiwan. But because we have a martial law like for 20 years or something, so it's a very long time for Taiwan. We don't really can involve our own pop music culture. Mm-hmm. The society is conservative. So I think when my dad became a bass player at the TV station, the atmosphere in the society is going to be more open. So I think rock music, the history of rock music in Taiwan starts very late, but I think it is growing up very fast during the past 20 years. Mm-hmm. Now, like we have many festivals, many venues, live houses, something like this. Yeah, but of course it's not a traditional music here.
No. What we have found, especially even within rock music, you play some really heavy metal stuff. So it is maybe even more extreme than a lot of the rock and roll that might have been happening when your father was playing. My guess would be he was more like Beatles time frame. And at their time, they were seen as being kind of revolutionary. Rock and roll has always been kind of revolutionary and making the statement of young people speaking up about whatever they have in mind. Now, how did Chthonic come to happen? Did this follow right after your high school club?
Yes, I think my rock school career is about 20 years ago. Yeah, so at that time, there are only 1 or 2 rock festivals in Taiwan. And the society can only accept the music in the standard in Europe that might be like Beatles. But there are still, but also at that moment, I think internet is starting to grow up. So there are some fans, some rock and roll fans, they can try to find a very rare albums, CDs of extreme music via the internet or the small record shop. After the rock music club at school, I met a friend who is organizing a rock festival. And this kind of rock festival connected all the universities and colleges in Taipei, in Taipei City. So they want me to join them. And at that time, I met Chthonic members at the team too. So that's why I joined the band. Because at that time, Chthonic, the first bass player of the band, he just graduated from university and he's going to the army to do the army service. So they need another bass player. So they asked me to know that I can play bass. And at that time, I think that will that be too many? I don't know, because at that time, Chthonic is kind of a famous metal band in Taiwan. Even though all the members are still university school students, but they have a certain reputations over the rock scenes here. And at that time, the keyboard player is a female. And I think that Chthonic music is very aggressive, fierce. Yeah. And will that be good for this kind of band, have 2 girls in the band? Will it? I don't know. I'm not sure. But the members from Chthonic told me that it's okay, it's fine. Yeah, I can just join and can just try. They're very open-minded, so that's why I joined. And at the first time, I was kind of very nervous to play Chthonic because before Chthonic, my band is playing the music including punk or pop rock. You know, from Green Day to Oasis, sometimes Guns N' Roses, sometimes even harder like Slayer or Metallica, but most of the time it's kind of like a Bon Jovi, you know, it's kind of comparatively soft rock music.
Yes.
Yeah, relatively soft rock music. So when I first joined the band, joined Chthonic, and I think that I cannot fit into the atmosphere that I should be very, not angry, but to be so aggressive.
Yes.
On the stage. I don't know how to do that, how to bend my head. If I play Oasis or Bon Jovi, I don't need to bend my head that hard. But after I joined Chthonic, I think I should do that, or I cannot follow the tempo, the rhythm, drum beats.
Yes.
Because it's too fast. So at that time, I choose very safe way to protect myself. It's just like a wood on the stage. I don't know, because I don't know how to move, how to bang my head. So I choose not to move, not to bang my head. Maybe sometimes just not my head, but just don't know how to bang. So this kind of situation remains like 1 or 2 years. And my guitar player at that time, Jesse, he told me, Doris, I think you're just like a wood on the stage, you know, you're like a 不动明王. It's a god. It's a god in the Asian mythology. It's just like, you know,
Yes.
just like this. Yeah, it's called 不动明王. He said, I just like this kind of god on the stage because I don't move my feet. And I was like, maybe it's time for me to learn. Not learn, but it's time for me to upgrade my performance on the stage. So I think, okay, I should cross that barrier and try. So I think this kind of situation, I break this kind of situation after I joined the band, after 1.5 years. And I think after I start to bang my head and try to move my body, I think the feeling that to play Chthonic music is very different. You can really enjoy the music, and you can use the right emotion and facial expressions and the eyesight, you know. You can use the right way to express that feelings on the stage.
I like the term that you used, fierce, because that the music is fierce. And obviously you've been with a band, it's been almost 20 years. You evolved, and now you're quite the presence on stage. As I was seeing some of the videos, your persona's Thunder Tears.
Oh no, I think this kind of a name, you know, came out at very first beginning of the band. Oh yeah. I think it's kind of childish. For now, we don't use that kind of the not that kind of the title, because I think there's still the culture difference between West and East. So we try our best to describe a feeling or the shape of different instrument players of the band. So the name just came out. But for now, I see this name is kind of, please don't say that, please.
Okay. I stand corrected. But it's one of the things that I think many times I discover with heavy metal is that on stage you have a character that you are playing a part. And then when you're off stage, very different kind of character, not as fierce, for example, because like just last week, we were at a show with David Ellefson from Megadeth. And on stage, he's very fierce, but off stage, he's a very nice guy. And so you go, wow, part of this is the act, part of this is fitting the music and the message, but it is who you are, but it's not who you are all the time. And with guys, a lot of times, like the musicians we saw, a lot of the long hair, the beards, the tattoos, they're that way all the time, though, because now they can't look any different. So I know you use makeup and things to have your on-stage presence and your persona.
I think that's the most attractive part of metal music, because metal music is very like fierce genre of the music. So you cannot use the normal or the general condition that you live in every day. You cannot use this kind of feeling or conditions to play the metal music on the stage. I learned that through the Chthonic music, through the metal music, I can find a role, a part of me that I never ever found out, but maybe it exists for a long time. But that part of me exists in my heart when I was born, I think. And metal music found it, and I can express that part, that aspect of me, that phase of me on the stage. I think it's very healthy, you know. It's very healthy, because if in the normal or in the daily life you were just like this, and on the stage I'm still the condition like this, there will be a normal situation. There's no dynamic, and you cannot find another way to express your different kind of feeling. But I think all the people need a place to relieve your different kind of feelings.
Yes.
And I think there's no just one characteristic of a person.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we all have different sides of the face in our life. So I think through the metal music, I can elaborate this kind of the face on the stage. I think it's very lucky for me. Or maybe I will be, you know, I will release this kind of the feelings, maybe on the computer or the internet, or over, you know, this kind of a negative, not negative, but aggressive or sometimes, angry feelings through the other way. Yeah, but maybe it's not as healthy as playing metal music. You know what I mean?
I do. Obviously, it has been something that has been very well received by your fans, because going on 20 years, just recently you guys released an album. It had been about 5 years, Battlefields of Asura.
It's going to be released on October 10th.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it's just now it's all pre-order time, and this is the 8th album of Chthonic, and especially this album is released after our vocalist Freddie, he got elected as a congressman.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very special album for us, because after he elected as a congressman in Taiwan, we thought that maybe we will not have chance to, you know, to release the album or go or having a tour, because his job is very busy. But still, we made it and have this album out.
I always have to ask, because as a musician, you have a special voice through your instrument. And if I recall correctly, you have an ESP signature bass?
Yeah, signature bass. It's a custom signature bass that made like 5 years ago. Oh, I think I have my bass here. Okay, it's this one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And you can see this mark. It's like a common. It's a common on my face. I have a face paint on my forehead, and I use that as a note on the board.
For your fret markers, very nice.
Yeah, marker. Because it's not the original one. It's a simple one. So in the original custom one, and there's a switch on the back, and all this common will
light up.
Nice. Yeah. But this one it can. And then because I like the color of purple at that time, so I use this kind of the colors.
And I see you're playing 5-string, so are you tuning on low B?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Because we think the lower B tuning will give our music more powerful feelings, and it also give the music more rich sound from the bass line. So yeah.
Are there any other particular parts of gear that help you get your sound, like amplification or strings or anything else?
Actually, I don't really use too many gears. Sometimes my guitar player, he got some endorsement, and he will ask me that, "Hey, Doris, do you want one? I can get one for you." They have a bass kind of this gear. Yeah. And then I said, okay, yeah, let's try it. So I don't really use many distortions or
Pedals.
Pedals of my bass. Sometimes compress, that's needed, but I usually use the original sound from my bass, and that's most of the time I did.
With a lot of the concert venues, that they look like they're probably very big. Do they run through a direct box DI, or do you use amplifiers on stage?
I still use amplifier on the stage. It gives me a safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because 20 years ago when I was playing the music on the small, narrow rock music club,
mm-hmm.
and I was surrounded by the amplifier. There's no speaker or anything. So that kind of feeling like, it gave me very safe feeling, like mommy hold a baby,
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the stage, I still need some voice sound from amplifier.
Do you have a particular choice in amplification?
Ampeg? Yeah. That's the one I usually use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use that for many, many years. I think I can have a rich sound and a heavy tone from that. Maybe it fits my bass setup.
Mm-hmm.
And I used that for, I think, over 10 years. When we started tour in the US, I think it's from Ozfest 2007. From that time, I start to use Ampeg as the always setup of my amplifier.
Well, and once you find what gives you the sound that you're looking for, it's something you have to stay with, so Ampeg has been very tried and true over many, many years. And I know especially with a lot of metal music and hard rock, Ampeg has been a very consistent choice. So it's good to hear. Looking ahead, what plans do you have? I know the album will be releasing soon. Are you going to be touring or?
I think for now it's difficult for us to do a long-term tour because everybody have a very busy job, and we cannot tour like before. Especially our vocalist, if he does so many tours like before, and people will think that he's not good at his Congress job.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's very different kind of situation compared to before. Mm-hmm. So we can only have a short-term tour or the festival shows. That would be the most possible situation for us to perform in the future. Mm-hmm. But for us, because we all have our different job, like I'm promoter also, I'm an event promoter and festival promoter, mm-hmm. and our guitar player, he's a sound engineer, and also our keyboard player, he's sound engineer, and our drummer, he's running a music school in Taipei. Oh. So it's all related to music, but different area. But it always keeps us busy. So I will treasure every moment if we have tours in the future. Mm-hmm. I will say that there will be no possible for us to not have any shows, but definitely there will be less than before. But we will treasure every time that we perform.
And have you any plans to perform outside of with Chthonic? Any projects of your own?
A few years ago, I have a clinic tour with ESP Europe, and I did that for several times. And it's a very good experience, and it's kind of my own project. But I'm not promoting a festival, even though I'm an asset consultant of the festival now. Mm-hmm. But it still took me so many times and attractions and daily life that keeps me very busy. So I think that for now, I will still focus on the new album.
Nice.
And because I'm still the manager, because I'm the leader of the band, and theoretically, there's I'm also the manager of the band. So I don't think I have extra time to do my own project right now. Mm-hmm. But hopefully, near future, I don't know. But for now, I think maybe I should finish the Chthonic new album's job and then finish my festivals jobs.
Sure.
And then I will have the extra time to do my own stuff.
And I would imagine that you have become a role model for many young women who want to play bass because they see you and they go, wow, look at Doris. I want to do what she's doing. I think it's very exciting, especially when you come from a culture that rock wasn't originally the traditional music. So you've really been pushing the envelope both with the kind of music that you play and the fact that you're a woman playing this kind of music. It's kind of uncommon. I see a lot of female players, but not as many in the heavy metal scene.
Yeah, in heavy metal scene, the female is less than the male. Of course, the situation is more obvious than other music genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think maybe metal music is a very masculine.
Yeah.
I think maybe. And of course in Taiwan, in metal bands, is hard to see a female to play any instruments. Mostly we can see the keyboard player is a female. Mm-hmm. Because in Taiwan's culture, a lot of girls, when they are still kids, the parents will send them to learn the piano. Me too. I was playing piano for 8 years when I was in elementary school. I think that's the easiest. It's the fast way for a female to join metal music. But for bass player, I think maybe it's hard to see a bass player is a female in a metal band, of course. So I can get so many attentions. I think it's because not too many female bass players to play metal bands. Sometimes I was thinking that, okay, maybe it's not because I'm as good as to be noticed. It's just because it's not normal to see a bass player a female to play metal music as bass player. Yes. Yeah. Maybe sometimes I will think about that. You know what I mean? It's not because of me. It's because my gender and what instrument I was playing. Sometimes I will think of that. So of course I inspired some female musicians, but I think a lot of people can do better than me. Sometimes I will think of that.
That's actually kind of a common thought even for male players, because as I've interviewed some pretty heavy-hitting metal players, a lot of times it comes down to the fact that they have been dependable with the band. Rudy Sarzo told me once that when he was auditioning for Ozzy, that 100 other people could probably play the same notes, but Rudy is hardworking, he's dependable, he's good to work with, and so it builds a relationship that lasts. And I've seen you play, and you are very fierce when you play, so you fill the needs of the music and the band, and so I think you're doing a great job with that. And I'm sure that with you being a manager, you bring other skills to the table, and that is also very beneficial to your band.
Yeah,
well,
I hope so.
Yes. Well, Doris, we appreciate you taking time to talk to us. It's so fabulous all the way around the world. We wish you much success. We're looking forward to Battlefields of Asura coming out very soon and hearing more of it. Make sure you keep us in the loop. Let us know. We want to stay on top of this news. People, you've seen her here, Doris Yeh, coming to you live on Bass Musician Magazine. Thank you.
Thanks for bassing out with us here on bassmusicianmagazine.com.